Hello, lovely people. Welcome to PM Personality Profile. My guest tonight, one of the legal luminaries in Ghana. He is former director of the Ghana School of Law and founder of the Mount Crest University College, Kwaku Ansa-Asare. My guest tonight. I am very delighted to see you today. How have you been?
So far, so good.
And what have you been up to?
The usual equities, up and down.
Okay.
It's going to call, teaching, going to the wood, farming, visiting friends in surrounding villages.
Okay.
Latte.
Well, I apologize that we were not able to come to Latte to do the interview as planned, but is that where you hail from?
Yes. 50% from Latte.
Okay.
25% from Pram Pram.
Okay.
And 25% from Usuwim.
Explain that to me.
My father, who is 95 and alive, he is from Latte.
Okay.
My mother, who died about 10 years ago, hailed from Pram Pram and Usuwim. The father hailed from Pram Pram and the mother from Usuwim.
And since your father hails from Latte, that...
we are patrilineal, and that makes me a citizen of Latte.
Is that where you were born?
No. I was born in a village.
Where?
Near Abumosu.
Okay.
Near Abumosu. I can't remember now exactly where the farm was, but it was a few kilometers from Abumosu. And then after my birth, my mom moved to join the father at Jumapo. So I stayed at Jumapo for the first 5 years of my life in Jumapo. Okay. And then my father raised me from age 6. I had to live with my father's mother, that's my grandmother, my father's brothers, my father's sisters. You know, in those days, one did not necessarily have to live with the parents, you know, but the siblings of one's parents. And I benefited from that immense traditional way of, you know, living. Okay.
Tell me about growing up. And so it was partly Abomozu?
No. Partly Jumapo, partly, you will have a village called Apunapunu.
Okay, where is that?
Or Kanta, near Suhum.
Okay, tell me about it.
And in Apunapunu, where I attended my class 3 to class 6.
Okay.
Apunapunu then was a small village.
Okay.
And I had to walk 10 miles, 5 apiece, to and fro. Okay. So 5 miles in, 5 miles out, you know, from Apunapunu to the nearest nearby school, or the LA Presby Primary School at Okanta. And Okanta was a market village. Okay. So on market days, and traditionally you count the market days 6 days, 6 days. So every, you know, 6 day there will be a market, and then people. So that's where I had my basic education, LA Primary School. And I still remember with fond memories what we did, you know, in those days. And I must confess that if I had been born now and not at that time, I don't know how my life would have been like, because Apunapunu really shaped, and Okanta reshaped, you know, the destiny of what I had to become, you know, at a later time in life. With the usual childhood pranks, you know, you go crab catching, or mushroom, you know, or you go to the farm, and then instead of going to school, you cut corners, you know, go and lie to your grandmom that, you know, one of your colleagues beat you up, and then you fake, you know, some crying here and there and this thing. But the fondest that I remember was my performance in class.
Okay.
You know, I was first from class 3 through class 6.
Okay.
First, even though it wasn't every time that I would go to school, and I loved football and reading, and I was a member of the school team, the junior school team. And one of our football matches, our goalkeeper was called Akapu.
Okay.
Akapu. And if you have tasted the village life before, the primary school 11 will usually consist of 4 pupils of the school, the rest will be townsfolk. And usually maybe 2 of them will be drunks or drunkards.
Okay.
Know. They will be reeking of appetition, you know, or other alcohol, and they will be part and parcel of the team, or the football team. And once I came face to face with teacher Brokwa, who was our number 4 and was the class 6 teacher. Yep. You know, and he shot straight at my face, and I heard the village girl say, "Oh, bewo." I believe this must have been 1963. You know, but that propelled me on, you know, to greater heights. That, you know, I should take my sporting activity serious, which I did. Okay. You know, and it was only when I attended Legon that I stopped, you know, running or playing football, because I opted instead to play or worry and dummy or draft. Okay. My father was a school teacher. Okay. And he didn't have much in terms of wealth. Okay. And my mom was a petty trader. Okay. You know, she had much more than my dad, you know, had at the time. But I have an uncle, my mom's immediate younger brother. He's alive. He's about 90 years old now. Okay. Uncle Tete, who advised my mom not to send me to secondary school until I had finished elementary Form 4. Okay. And my father, being a teacher, would have none of that. He wanted me to go to secondary school at an early age. So in 1965, I passed Achimota, but you know, my father didn't have the, you know,
the money,
sufficient, you know, funds to see me through secondary school education. So I had to, you know, proceed to Form 2, 1966. I passed Achimota, you know, again, the same, you know, misfortune. Then in 1967, I passed St. Augustine's. Okay. And unfortunately, on the 22nd day of September 1967, just when I had finished, you know, packing my things, ready for my senior to come and, you know, take me, you know, to Cape Coast, I noticed my father was shedding tears. Oops. So I approached him and said, Dada, what's happening? Are you hurt? And he said, my son, you can't go to school. Oh my goodness. Because I don't have the money, you know, to send you. So, and I said, oh, it doesn't matter. God will, you know, make a new way for me. And my father said, no, but I want you to go to St. Augustine's, become, you know, a prominent citizen in future. I want you to become a lawyer. And I said, oh, Dada, stop crying, you know, it shall be well. So my senior came, and I realized that my father found it very hard to tell him the truth. But Aisha, one thing I'll share with you is that truth does not expire. Yep. Truth does not expire. No matter, you know, what one does in life, little truths will never go away. Yeah. However hard and much we try to conceal the truth.
Yeah.
It will not expire, and therefore the truth will always come out.
Definitely.
So my father came out and told my senior Odano, you know, may he so rest in perfect peace. He died, I think, 2 years ago. Oh. Senior Odano said, well, never mind. There will be a way out. I'll take the lead, and then I'll let your father know what the assistant headmaster, you know, will say. And so I had to follow my father, who was then the Latin tutor at Benkum Secondary School, to school, even though my name was not in the register. So for pretty 3 years, I attended Benkum Secondary School. I didn't pay fees, I didn't do anything, because I just followed my father. I would carry his food. You know, but each time there was a class I could attend, I could sit in. So I audited classes and courses without actually having been registered as a student. Then, in 1969, the then headmaster of St. Augustine's, Mr. S.K. Opon, who had been appointed a table head in Parliament, Buzier's Parliament, don't know what, you know, brought him to Latte, but he visited my father. And then in their private conversation, I could hear my father choking, you know, with effort to tell the headmaster. So I just went and said, Master, I'm pachopi, my scholarship, and I'm me about school, you know. And SK Upon, you know, told me, based on your performance at the common entrance, you already have government scholarship. Wow. So I had to go to St. Augustine's.
Oh, wow.
So through that.
Just like that.
And this explains why I have become a philanthropist to help the needy. You know, much as I was assisted by SK Upon. At St. Augustine's, you know, my colleagues were the usual, you know, Dadamba.
Yes, definitely.
So I had 3 of them, 3 friends. Yao Graham, Dr. Yao Graham. Yes. Then Tojuro, and then William Warman. Warman is deceased. Tojuro is also deceased. But they will ask me, where, you know, have you come from? I said, oh, Benkum Secondary School. You mean Bankum? Where is that Bankum Secondary School? And, you know, I will feel upset. And yet Bankum, you say Benkum, oh, Bankum can follow. You know, they will tease me and, you know, all that. And lo and there, you know, as well, and you know, became one of the good students in Latin. Those days were teaching Greek, you know, this thing, until we finished O-level and A-level and went to Legon to study law and then the law school, and here I am, a lawyer.
Let's still stay with St. Augustine's. And I know that as for Greek, Latin, history, I mean, you were a guru in that area. But Masidi, don't go there.
I had 9, and anybody and everyone primary school, university will know that Ninya 9 months.
Okay, so what kind of a student would you say you were whilst at St. Augustine?
Very, very, very brilliant student, very promising. In fact, all my secondary school education, university education, the testimonial that have been issued, you know, always indicate or describe me as a very able and promising student. In fact, my year group of 72, 74, the 3 distinguished alumni of St. Augustine's, and one, you know, of the 3 distinguished, Legon Hall, you know, I'm also a distinguished member, you know, of Legon Hall. I won a sports prize, you know, for Legon Hall in 75, 76, 76, 77. You know, for my distinctive contribution to non-academic life, you know, because I was the student leader. Yes. And I had a good head, and I still have a good head.
My
yes, retentive memory is
it's intact. Yes, I know, right?
Very, very intact.
So at St. Augustine's, what were some of the adventures or experiences that you explored as a student?
I wasn't a spoiled child.
Okay.
I mean, my father was a strict father, a disciplinarian who wouldn't brook any nonsense. So we were always indoors. You had to read. So my father bought us bedtime stories, lots and lots and lots of bedtime stories, novels, the classics, and so there was no incentive for you to go out. And so my real first girlfriend, was my wife.
Oh wow! Oh wow!
Real girlfriend.
I see.
The other ones in my secondary school days, we used to tease ourselves that way. Platonic sister, it means that is for nothing, good for nothing. So I don't have the usual boyhood stories of adventurism. I had dated this, I had dated that. The one girl that I would have dated, Eku.
Okay.
Eku. I mean, my house here, their house, and that was also an innocent relationship.
Okay.
I didn't have any friends.
Okay.
And to date, I don't have friends.
Okay, that means you never got into any trouble.
No.
Okay.
The one trouble I had was on 5th June, 1972.
Okay.
Because I had approached my headmaster, Mr. Samuel Sedo, to tell him that I wish to change my name from Samuel Kwaku Ansa to Kwaku Ansa-Asare.
Okay.
And he said I should, go and I should come along with the senior house master, Mr. C.A. Wilson. So innocently, I approached Mr. Wilson and said, headmaster, Mr. Sedo, said that I should come along with you. He said, to do what? I said, I don't know. As soon as we got there, headmaster said, Mr. Wilson, get 6 trombones and give him 12.
Goodness. What have you done?
I had to receive 12 for daring to change my name. But in retrospect, I think that I hurt him because he is Samuel. He's alive. Okay. My father's, age me, so he must be 95. You mean if I wanted to change, and he said, why? I said, I want to Africanize my name.
Okay.
He is a very staunch Catholic.
Okay.
And me, a mere pupil, telling your headmaster, you want to indigenize your name, from somewhere. So, I must have been depicting a picture of, foolhardiness, and he gave me 12. And then the day we're writing arithmetic, modern maths, I told my my housemaster that I didn't want to go and write. He said I should go and write. And I said I will fail.
By force.
I will fail, so I didn't want to. He said I should go and try. I said no, rather I will prepare, for the next paper, which was Latin. Okay. As for that one, I knew, even if I got out of bed, I will be able to pass this thing, but not mathematics. I had to receive something. But I'm sharing this with you because it has strengthened my resolve to live an upright life.
Right.
Because I wasn't good at mathematics, the school made it, they had arranged that 3 good students, would encircle me. So I'll be copying from them.
Okay.
And when I entered and they said, this person will finish one question that I'll copy and this, and I told the school authorities, I'll never do that. Never, ever.
Okay.
I was very young. I stood my ground. So what I did was to get hold of the question paper answer script and copy the 5 questions that the cycle
on the answer paper.
And then, so it didn't take me more than 30 minutes to finish.
To do that.
Yes. But it has taught me one useful lesson. It is teachers, it is school authorities who sow this seed, of cheating in students. If I had allowed myself
to go through that,
today, I'll not be where I am.
And you
I'm
would
able
take
to
it
speak
as
my mind freely because I have nothing, to hide.
Yeah.
When we tell, you know me, you dare, because if you cheat, I will expel you.
Yeah.
Period.
But yes. How would you describe the environment, the discipline, academic life, in St. Augustine's?
Very high.
Okay.
Very, very high. And we were blessed to have as the Archbishop, Archbishop Kojemisa. Very straight, Catholic discipline, very, very, very strict. And I'm glad that I attended, St. Augustine's at the time that I did.
So from St. Augustine's then
to
you moved to Legon.
Yes.
How was the experience? Was it different from secondary school?
Very much so. Sixth form life was pre-university life. But the moment you entered university in those days, there was a sharp contrast. Very, very, very sharp contrast. The freedom. Secondary school, the rules were there, the do's and don'ts. University, no rule.
Yeah.
You had entered. That was it. We entered 17th October 1974. We had 4 p.m. tea with the Vice Chancellor, the then Vice Chancellor, Professor Kwaku.
Okay.
At 4 p.m. who told us that here, each was unto himself or herself.
Okay.
Nobody will come and wake you up.
To go and learn.
You were your own time. Nobody will tell you to go and eat. Nobody will tell you to go and study. They had given you the timetable. First lecture was 7 to 8. And our first lecture was Ghana Legal System. It was going to be with Chachu Chikata.
Okay.
And I had heard so much about Chachu Chikata that he had just taken the distinction from Oxford University, that he spoke the Queen's English, and the way he would twist his, mouth and his mustache to deliver. I didn't sleep. I kept wondering was going to speak to the class. So when I entered, I was nervous.
Okay.
And then there came Chachu standing in front of us and so, class, good morning, how are you? So this ordinary good morning, how are you? And he broke my resolve. I said, oh, thank God. So I'll be able to cope.
Okay.
So we, plodded along. We, coped. We finished. And again, here we are.
Here we are.
Yes.
Let's talk about the School of Law. At your time, was there School of Law, or once you finished Legon, you just write a bar exams? How was it like?
So in the 1970s and 1980s, 1990s, up to 2001, there was the Ghana School of Law. So it was a 5-year course. So year 1, Legon; year 2, Legon; year 3, Legon; year 4, Legon; year 5, Makola.
Okay.
Now, so, I'm in 4th year.
Okay.
So we didn't have any break as such.
Okay.
It was, a continuing thing. 5 years of legal education.
Okay.
But because the curriculum had been developed around a 2-tier route, you know, to becoming a lawyer, you have to do the first 3 years to earn the LLB. But there was no break as such.
Yeah.
So year 4, we finished our LLB on 20th October 1977. Then the results were released on 1st November 1977. 2nd November, we started year 4.
Okay. Wow.
So it was when I became director of the law school that I actually got to know the processes involved. So from the 3rd year, the dean of the faculty of law would just forward the transcripts of the students. And how many were we? 21.
Okay.
21, a total number of 21. They will forward the transcript to the director of the law school at Makola. We knew next to nothing about what will happen. All you knew that you had finished, the results have been published in the dailies, you have passed, they had announced that the bar will start on a certain day, finished.
Okay.
It was when one got to the 5th year that you had to do a year's practical training at Makola itself.
Okay.
Yes, to become a here, made in here lawyer. Because at that time, lawyers trained at the law school were referred to as made in here. Made in here lawyer. So Makola lawyer.
Okay.
Yes. So there was no discernible shift as such.
Okay.
It was, continuous. And so we had, some will refer to it as the University of Ghana Law School, which is a misnomer.
Okay.
It is now that the University of Ghana has established the University of Ghana, School of Law.
Yeah.
But what we attended was the proper Makola Ghana School of Law.
Okay.
I don't know what happened. Secondary school, sixth form, when I was completing the form, I had actually chosen Commonwealth. Okay. And a friend told me that if I chose Commonwealth, if I wrote 3 times, I'll get So I wrote first choice, Commonwealth. Second choice, Commonwealth. Third choice, Commonwealth. When the thing came to us, Legon, I said, damn it.
But
damn it.
Why were you choosing Commonwealth Hall?
I don't know. Maybe, again, it's my destiny. Because maybe the good Lord realized that he had to take total control of my life.
Yes.
Into becoming somebody in future. So any flirtation with things that will disrupt the plan the Almighty had for me, just made sure that they went with the wind. So I was given the Legon Hall. Okay. I entered Legon. I enjoyed Legon Hall. Yeah, I became, one of HJCR secretaries. Okay. I was a member of the tutorial board, a member of the Hall Council. I contributed immensely through Legon Hall. I joined the resident board and other things. So I must say that Legon Hall has shaped and reshaped, my destiny.
Is that where you met Mrs. Ansa-Asare?
No, I met her in my dream. I had, dreamt and, seeing this beautiful young girl, So the next day, I in my dream, I was drinking palm wine with my, 2 of my friends, Gabriel Edufu, and then Umiado Reynolds. Okay. And then, as we sat there, I noticed that, a young girl with, a little, and so I told my friend, that's, my dream wife. I just wanted to say
just like that.
Where do you, what's your name? And they said, she's a backyard. So straight away that evening, I told my father, that, this is the dream I had, and blah, 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 blah. So my father approached the mother.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That was after university?
Yeah, of course, yes.
Okay.
That was after university.
Okay. Kwaku Ansa-Asare, he's my guest tonight on PM Personality Profile. We are having fun on this interview. When I return from this break, he will be sharing with us his journey as a young lawyer up to this stage of his life. Definitely, there's been ups and downs. We'll be sharing all of that with us. We would also be tapping into his legal brains in terms of the justice system and constitutional matters. Of course, he'll be telling us his experiences at the law school and whether he can proffer some solutions to some of the challenges we're facing with the School of Law. Stay with me. I'm coming right back. Welcome back to PM Personality Profile. My guest is Kwaku Ansa-Asare. He is former director of the Ghana School of Law. So let's start with your journey as a lawyer. How was it?
It's not been an easy journey. It's been arduous. The problems of my time were different from what the young ones are facing today. So we were called on 20th November 1981 because I had to, after the LLB, I had to proceed to do the masters in order to teach.
Yeah.
So I lost 2 years of my seniority to my mates.
Okay.
But when we were called, I was lucky enough, to be picked by one lawyer, Eric Na.
Okay.
He's alive, who was a lawyer in the chambers of his older brother, Justice Jabano, G.L. Jabano. So I joined Jabano & Co. on 21st November 1981. And then on 4th December, I received a telegram from the then Chief Justice Akbalu, to proceed to Takwa to assume duty as a magistrate. And I hadn't even been to court yet. I hadn't done anything, and apparently, based on my performance, and coming, joining the bar as a young lawyer with a master's degree, he thought that they needed people, some intellectual, acumen to join the bar. So he posted me to Takwa. I didn't, I declined the invitation and rather accepted a teaching position at the University of Port Harcourt. So I left, Ghana, went to Port Harcourt, taught there for 2 years, came back, and then joined the Council for Law Reporting in 1983. And I didn't, I found it boring. Found, the job of a law reporter very boring. So I left, law reporting, went back into teaching, this time to join the Tibet's Faculty of Law at the University of Calabar in Nigeria. I was there, with my wife and children until 1987 when we came back. Then on my return, I went back to Jabano & Co. That was when I met Mr. Darocha, B.J. Darocha. 1st September 1987, I had been appointed a lecturer at the Ghana School of Law, thanks to the advice and encouragement of the late Professor Mills. He had actually called me to say that he saw in me, a talent that he thought, would be of immense assistance to the Ghana School of Law. So I should leave Legon and rather, join the staff of the Ghana School. At that time, the staff, the establishment at the law school was 3. The director, the registrar, and one other lecturer. So I became the 4th and the youngest And being the fourth and the youngest, I became the pet of everyone, most especially BJ Darocha. Darocha will, invite me to prepare his tea for him.
Oh, wow.
And then he also introduced me into very good social circles, where money was. But with this piece of advice, Kwaku, onye sikebia no DHI.
Yes.
That's, that's what. Every now and then, you give me a good case, but remind me, that I should not overcharge. And then through Darocha, I got into the life cycle of people like Peter Lajete, Yidi Kom, Mr. Arthur, Kwaku and Azinyo, Azozo, and they said they will be sending me here. Then Udoyana, and then in the evenings, I will carry Mr. Jabano's briefcase and enjoying the Philip Archer's and the Usu Yellow Bar where they were drinking their beer, and for some reason, I didn't join them in their drinks, and till now, I can remember, I can tell you the number of beer bottles, my 71 years on it. I don't think, if I count, it will even be one crate, one carton. No.
Oh, wow.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, I can live 5 years, 10 years without tasting beer.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't join them, but I smelled good life. Good living. They would drink, they would bring barman, bring one and two. There, they would be dancing and this thing. And
oh my God.
And later on, Nanado, the president, also came onto the scene, and he endeared himself to me, Nanado. He spoke good English. Very, very eloquently. They said, Mr. BJ Darocha. He said, yes, sir. Then home, then with their and this time. He said, but who is this? And then another comes, BJ,
Oh my goodness.
So it was fun being in their midst, and it's a shame that the good old days have suddenly disappeared and gone. I don't think that the lawyers of today, the young ones, will ever be able to taste the niceties of lawyering in our days. When I started, my journey to becoming a lawyer, just the mere mention of names like Kom, like Darocha, Peter Lajete, Neil Doyanan, they will ask you to go. And once I was, going to court, I was late running. Then comes, hey, young man, where are you going? I say, I have a case before Miss Sai. Say, and you are running? I said, oh, I have a case before. She's a case herself. Cool.
Cool down.
When I entered her ladyship's court, she was, in chamber. And then I'd actually left a message for me to say I was then a very young lecturer, at the law school. So I got to, know Miss Ai. And then from that acquaintance, we became friends. And from time to time, she would invite me, Captain G.W. Amatefio, New Doyanan, and then through that, I got close to F.D. Annan, Justice D.F. Annan. D.F. Annan became friends. So that has been some of the, circle of, legalization, to put it that way. And it has made me, who I am today, especially the Darocha connection. The connection with Darocha purchased me, lots and lots of goodies. This person, then Daroche's political life. So I got to know his political friends, including Kufuor. So I became close to Kufuor because I usually drive Darocha to Kufuor's house. And then in 1991, when they thought of establishing the new patriotic party, it was in my office, actually.
Okay.
Yes, at Kingsway, that the whole thing started.
Wow.
Because Darocha was at the law school, he was the director, and the powers that be, at the time, will not permit him, from time to time, they will be sending BNI people. So our hideout was my chambers at Kingsway.
Okay. What would you describe as the biggest hurdle you had to cross in your law practice?
I would say not law practice, but my teaching career.
Okay.
The biggest was in 2002, when I was appointed director of the law school.
Okay.
I believe sincerely that I must have been 50 years ahead of my time.
Okay.
When I was appointed.
Wow.
Because I was full of life, vigor, full of ideas, very innovative, and I wanted, desire to carry the law school, take it from where, I saw and found it, to a level that would be, the talk, of everyone in the country. And I think, that became a misfortune rather than a blessing. I introduced new ideas, and it didn't chime well with some people in the corridors of power. First of all, my background, a nobody becoming director of the law school when you have big names. So they resented the very idea that had been appointed director of the law school. Then it also crisscrossed, with the termination of appointment or resignation, of a directorship by Mr. S.Y.B. Mpombuta. And people thought that I had engineered or orchestrated, his exit, even though he had passed 60. When he was asked to retire, he was 62. And under our terms and conditions of service, we had to retire compulsorily in accordance with Article 1991 of the 1992 Constitution upon attaining 60. So I had nothing, to do, with his exit from the law school. But I was blamed, as the person responsible. So to teach me a lesson, his friends, Dr. Abusu and Dr. Kofi Dinkra, decided, to write petitions for my removal. So even before, I'll be baptized, into the position of director of the law school, I was already seeing, the exit, route.
Wow.
Be that as it may, I accepted the challenge, and I knew that I wouldn't last 3 years. So I remember the first day I entered the office, I called my secretary and said, look, we have a lot of work to do. I don't think, I will spend more than 3 years. So within the 3 years, let's leave our legacy.
Yep.
And predictably, exactly 3 years, I was asked to leave the law school.
Wow.
But between 2002 and 2005, I did a lot. I brought lots of changes in the law school. First of all, the curriculum. There were academic subjects that ought to have been taught at the faculty level, which were being taught at the law school. I removed all those courses back to Legon in 2002. And then in 2003, I established the Faculty of Law at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, and laid the foundation for the Ghana School of Law Satellite Campus in Kumasi. And I did that, in order to widen access to justice, because until I became director of the law school, there was only one, law school in Ghana, that's the Ghana School of Law, and one law faculty, the Faculty of Law at the University of Ghana.
Yeah.
And if you look at the developmental agenda of Ghana, one law school, one law faculty, naturally weren't enough. Now, when I dared to establish the law school in Kumasi, he gave me names. They were calling me, all sorts of names, and people were saying I wanted to, suck up to government, to the powers that be. I was going to dilute legal education, as if it had been preordained that until and unless one attended the law faculty in Legon, one would not be able to become a lawyer. And for me, that in itself was something that needed to be scotched in the bud, because at the time the law school was established in 1958, the population of Ghana was 5 million. 2002, the population of Ghana was about 30 million. As we speak now, we are, getting close to about 38 million. Yeah. We still have one law school. So within the 3 years, I laid the foundation for a law faculty at NUST, UCC in Cape Coast, and then UDS in Tamale. Then I also made sure that law students will pay fees. So I introduced fee paying into the law school. I had free education, and I make no apology whatsoever to the nation, no apology whatsoever for introducing fees. Law students are unlike teachers. They are not, graduates who will enter the public service or the civil service. The law is a profession of its own. We ply our trade. Once you become a lawyer, everything is yours. We do not contribute, more than, say, 10% every year, into government coffers. But we rather need money to train teachers who will go, to the basic schools to teach and produce many more, literate persons. So I thought that law students must pay fees. When I introduced fees, payment of fees, a probe was established to probe the finances of the law school, and then a newspaper, because you are a journalist, I won't mention the name of the newspaper. The newspaper was used, to attack me every day that I had stolen money, I had been jailed in America, I had and so many things, but it didn't deter me from doing the right thing. And then apart from that, I laid the foundation for lawyers to be licensed. The first time lawyers were licensed in Ghana was in 1958. When the Daroches and the Kufuados, and when they came, Olenu, and they named them, there are a few of them, about 12. They were licensed, and for a brief period. When Ghana became a republic on 1st July 1960, that ended. Lawyers were just, practicing without first obtaining a license. So 2002, the first thing I did when I became a director was to make sure that the General Legal Council will implement that provision in the Legal Profession Act, that lawyers must, be licensed. Hence came the solicitor's license. So today, you cannot practice law without a solicitor's license. And only last week, the outgoing Chief Justice said that, apart from that, lawyers will now have to write, examination. I will have, enough to say about that, another this thing, but I don't think what we should rather do is to intensify, continuing legal education rather than, taunt lawyers to go and write exam, which I know everybody will pass anyway. So that was it.
As former director of the Ghana School of Law. How do you feel about how the entrance exams into the law school has been managed over the period?
Very sad. Very, very sad and very disappointed. I was the chief exams officer of the Ghana School of Law from 1987, September 1987, until I was asked to step aside on 31st August, 2005. When I was in charge of the entrance exam into the law school, I do not remember any point in time that one questions leaked, because I usually set the questions in the morning of the very Saturday they write the exam.
Okay.
2, even though there were protocol admissions, I went about it in a very civilized and sensible manner. That there were and there still are some ministries that are key, to the sustenance of the Ghana School of Law. Ministry of Finance, for instance, the Ministry of Information, the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Trade, the Ministry of Interior, Defense. These are key ministries, and the police. So when I was in charge of the law school, and I had been deputy director from April 1992 until I became full director, on 1st October 2002. And during the 10-year period from 1992 to 2002, I made sure that we did everything in conformity with Article 128, Clause 4 of the 1992 Constitution. The basic qualification for any person, to become a judge in this country, the basic qualification are the 2 qualifications outlined in Article 128, Clause 4. That is, the person must be of a high moral character and proving integrity, and of course, the number of years standing at the bar. These 2, they are basic. And if one has to be appointed a commissioner or deputy commissioner of church under Article 216 of the Constitution, these are basic. If you look at the appointment the president has to make, pursuant to his power is derived from Article 70, these are basic. The president cannot appoint just anybody. So the 2 criteria are those that have been listed in Article 128, Clause 4 of the 1992 Constitution. These are basic things. And I made sure that as director, these were always, paramount and upheld. But in so doing, I naturally caught the resentment, of some people in the corridors of power, who therefore, sought my removal. But again, we are human beings. It is not everybody who will like you.
Definitely.
Yes. So I don't harbor any grudge against anybody. I enjoyed, my directorship. So the 13 years that I was director from 2002 to 2013 have been, the, challenging times. Much of it was, when I was home, having been asked to step aside. Yes.
Yeah.
But I was still working.
You say no Chief Justice can reform legal education in Ghana. Why not?
I say it several times.
Why not?
Because it is not their core. The core mission of a Chief Justice is to steer the affairs of the judiciary. That is the core mission of a Chief Justice. The Chief Justice, has very little time to address and implement that core mission. No time, to consider matters of legal education. I've been there enough to know the, the way one, can go about, reform. I'll share this with the public. When I was director of the law school, because it was my intention to reform legal education, I used people like her leadership, Sophia Kufu. So I set up a committee.
Yeah.
She chaired it. I set up another committee. Atuguba, chaired. Then I needed to introduce ADR. I invited her leadership, Georgina Wood, to come and teach ADR.
Okay.
I introduced legislative drafting. I invited VCRAC CRAB to come there. I needed, to do to train career magistrates for the nation. So I got VCRAC CRAB, Kluje Sambadu to come to the law school, and I went to Parliament, justified the recruitment of retired judges to join the law school to transform, the vision and mission of the law school as set forth by Nkrumah.
Yeah.
You see, what Nkrumah wanted to do was to have locally trained lawyers who, will be acceptable anywhere that. So today, for instance, mention the name of Datiba in the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
Mention VCRAC CRAB. Even me, mention my name. People know me in the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
Because I had to go and negotiate the transfer of a Commonwealth program from the West Indies to Ghana. And in stating the case, I had to do that, with the confidence that anyone had to do in order to, because West Indies, Sierra Leone, the U.S., because the U.S. wanted that program to go to Cornell University. We met, we made our case. I got it. At that time, Betty Moldy Drisu was the Attorney General. And she congratulated me, for bringing that thing. The moment I was asked to step aside, they said it should be phased out. So I sued the General League. I sued the Chief Justice, Georgina Wood. I sued the Attorney General. I sued Samuel Kujetu and others. Okay. The docket disappeared. They got missing. I don't know where the docket is.
My goodness. Interesting.
But it is something that I think needs, looking into, because not the mislaying or the docket, but the legal education in Ghana, what we are doing now is just scratching the surface. So if I say that no Chief Justice, the Chief Justice who will reform legal education in Ghana has not yet been born. Certainly not at time.
Interesting. Let's talk about the justice system and some constitutional matters. And you've called on the new CJ nominee, Justice Tokono, to be honest, to be of bold spirit, and be less corrupt. Have you had cause to, doubt the outgoing CJ, for instance, in terms of these qualities?
No. In fact, we see. Because any boy, was in practice, we were practicing together. He was in practice, before he was appointed. I'll tell Ghanaians one thing. We should not blame the incumbent Chief Justice. We should not. Because, see, when you appoint a person onto an enviable position like, that of the Chief Justice, and you do not give the person a free hand, there's nothing the person can do. And Yeboah came full of zeal, full of promise, to do the little or the modest contribution that he could make, to facelift the judiciary. The Jubilee House, I'll say Jubilee House, did not, give him the chance. And I say this not, from hearsay, but from my personal experience, because I worked with Chief Justice Sowa, Yawadade, Philip Archer, and then after him, Yuredu, then Aban, Chief Justice Aban.
Okay.
So I worked with Sowa, Yawadade, Archer, then Aban, Yuredu, then Aqua, Georgina Wood.
Okay.
Before I hesitated. Each of them had their own individual styles.
Yeah.
But they were, among the creme de la creme, full of, honesty and integrity. They were just not allowed to work. So, young as she is, Gertrude Tokonu, I know her personally. I know her affability. I know the credentials she's, bringing, along with her and all that. Trust me, unless and until she's given a free hand, she will not succeed. Because the politicians will not allow her, and we lack the moral courage as individual Ghanaians to say, I am, walking out on this, look at Article 57. Look at Article 69.
Yep.
Look at Article 70. The powers vested in one man, the president. So the president can do anything except, turn a man into a woman or vice versa. It's not good. Yeah. So the president appoints this, the president appoints that. When you want to, remove the president, the very people the president has appointed are the people, who have to initiate the process of removal.
That certainly won't be possible.
Never. So we have now the president even installing and distilling chiefs.
Yep.
And no one can hold the I wrote to the Council of State that please, the president is undermining his constitutional authority. Hold him. Call him to order, counsel him. That is why you have been set up. They didn't even acknowledge receipt of the letter. And the president is still gallivanting, distilling chiefs.
Wow.
And appointing chiefs and installing chiefs. That is one. Ghanaians don't want the finance minister, period.
Yep.
The president says, whether you like the finance minister or not, I am the appointing authority, and therefore, I'll call your bluff. The finance minister is still there. And then he even has, the audacity to add insult to injury by telling Ghanaians, look Ghanaians in the face and say, I am not changing the finance minister.
Yep. Where
Where can you, find this, sort of arrogance? Tell me.
Yep.
You see, now until we call a spade, we are not going to, go anywhere. So
let's talk about the Mount Crest University College, mostly training law students. Yeah. What was the motivation?
I had a son. You mentioned Kwaku Ansa-Asare. Kwaku Ansa-Asare was my son.
Oh, yes, okay.
My only son. Oh. And we lost him when he was age 19.
So sorry about
that. His last conversations with some nurses at Kolibu, when he told 2 or 3 nurses that, they were not practicing their medicine, with humanism. So I decided to set up a university, which will have a medical school where humanistic medicine, will be high on the agenda.
Okay.
So my wife and I got together. So our motivation, was to transform society, through our loss of Kwame. Okay. So our motto, that is the Mount Crest University College motto, ut vitam habeant, so they may have life.
Oh, okay.
Because when Kwame was at St. Augustine, he was known to be sharing.
Okay.
Very little things we gave him at home, he would go and share with his colleagues, at St. Augustine, in order to transform their lives. So, ut vitam habeant, so they may have life.
Yeah. Oh, wow, interesting. And I'm not surprised at all that Irene also turned out to be a lawyer. Like, was it deliberate?
Yes.
Because I've seen that
yes.
most lawyers or judges want at least one of their children to be a lawyer.
It was deliberate. When she was conceived, my prayer was to have a girl who have sufficient hair, will go to Wesley Girls, the University of Ghana, will study law and French, and then will become, a lawyer to take over from me. And when she was born, I got a girl, no hair. But at least Wesley girls had wanted her to study mathematics. Mr. Champon actually, approached me and said Irene was an round pupil, and therefore I should give her the opportunity. I said no, she has to study law. Irene herself would have studied science.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
if she had her
from
way,
conception until say she become a lawyer, and I haven't regretted. I'm not disappointed at all.
Wow.
And I know she'll be greater than me, one day.
She's now rector of the Mount Crest University College.
Yes.
What's your relationship with your children?
The usual traditionalist Ghanaian father relationship. I spend very little time at home, but when I'm home, I'm their brother and they are my sisters, and I brought them up, to speak their minds.
Yeah.
So if you come here and Irene is sharing her concerns with me, you think that she's a spoiled child, but that's how
you brought them up.
Yeah, so that one day they can look power that be in their individual faces and tell them what you are doing is not right. Just like I speak my mind.
Yeah.
To anybody at any time, anywhere.
Obviously.
And I don't look, beyond, who is standing. No, I say it.
Yeah.
Truth will never expire. Absolutely. Say it. One day, posterity will judge you.
Of course. And I'm sure that the kids, so it's now only Irene?
Three girls.
Three girls, yeah. All of them. So Irene and...
Irene, then Helena, Ansa-Asare, and then Comfort. I named her Comfort after my mom.
Oh, okay. I'm sure they're all proud of you, including...
Yeah, much as I'm also proud of them.
Including Mrs. Ansa-Asare.
And she's my first daughter.
I must say we're also very proud of you. We appreciate all your good work, the good work that you're doing for Mother Ghana. Keep up the good work. After all said and done, courts, lecturing, consultation, what do you do to relax at the end of the day?
I read novels, or I watch a movie.
Okay.
Or soccer time, I don't do anything.
Okay.
Apart from watching soccer.
Wow.
Or boxing. Azuma was my client for many years, Azuma Nelson.
Okay.
So that also got me into
loving
boxing. Okay. So from time to time, I watch Azuma's tapes.
Okay.
But apart from reading, my greatest hobby is just to go to the woods.
Okay.
Yeah, so every now and then, if you are looking for me in Accra and I'm not I'm in the woods and like that. So I farm a lot.
You farm, okay.
Yes, but I don't sell the produce.
Okay.
I give it to charity.
That's great. That's very good of you. Oh, God bless you for your kind heart.
So if you want, to visit me at Latte, normally you find me in I call it the bush.
Okay.
Yes. So sometimes I go and palm fufu there with the farmers.
Okay.
They will cook and we eat together.
Wow, that's nice. Yes. But do you listen to music sometimes?
Yes.
Okay. Which kind? Which genre of music?
Ampedu High Life. the CK Man, Ampedu, E.T. Mensa, Unyina,
folks.
Yes.
Okay.
But Ampedu is my favorite. My favorite song. Regrettably, I don't know the words, this thing, but if you can play it for me, Ekuska
by Ampedu.
By Ampedu, yeah.
Hey!
And not to say, any name, any answer, and you got a very home. Emra abutu to son. Odi akosu mwebia. Eya obesene fu. Osu fini etu ono. Aku friyo. Bada only Bibiano. Or the Nisako shed that he did. Obimro, Obimro. Sano. He was to me. And then we're jamming. I come in Kune, my bravo. And so Helena was around. Come on. Come on. Fawa sema nyame usu friend of the Jews.
Thank you so much, Kwaku Ansa-Asare, for opening up to us. We are really grateful. We appreciate you a lot, and God bless you for all that you're doing for Mother Ghana. Mrs. Ansa-Asare, thank you for your support.
God bless us both.
Of course, God bless you. And viewers, thank you so much for watching. Same time next week, God willing, another exciting edition of PM Personality Profile awaits you. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Do enjoy the rest of the program.